This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Audible. Coming up, next-gen gaming and a handheld device? Well, we put our hands on the new PlayStation Vita.
It's not very often that we have new hardware, a new console, but the PS Vita has just hit.
Dropped like a bomb.
North American shores.
It's shiny.
It is very shiny.
The OLED screen, of course. I went out and bought one, and we're gonna check it out. Hopefully you guys have seen it by now, but it's got some interesting features. First of all,
It's funny, we've not held these without having a tether.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
which is a big
first thing.
difference.
Yeah. Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
It's got some heft to it.
Yeah, okay. All right. Oh, dual. Good.
Oh, it's actually not as heavy as I thought it might be.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys held it before you turned it on, because I think that, no, honestly, I think that turning it on,
It's instantaneous on.
right? And so it's got this,
Gorgeous look.
yeah, oh my gosh, the screen really pops.
Yeah, really
It really pops. And so it's got an interesting kind of menu system. Anytime you play
That's
a game,
menu?
anytime you play a game on it, and
Yeah.
there's more menu up. But anytime you play a game on it, it installs the little bubble.
Okay. Can
So
you
even-
uninstall those?
You can,
Okay.
but even when the game is out of the system, you have the bubble, so you push it and be like, well, just put the thing in.
the thing in?
Which I found to be a little counterintuitive,
Yeah.
especially in the smartphone generation of just assuming you
so
have...
that's a big question. Does it still take discs?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's the whole game. It's got a little postage stamp, and it comes in a big old box, and it's just this little thing. So anyway,
Weird.
So,
The cool thing
even though
is-
you don't have the thing installed or the thing in the controller, it will look exactly the same way as when you have it in there.
Yes.
Of whether or not you can. So you don't
Yeah.
get that instant reaction to, oh, I don't have that in, so I can't play that right now.
Well, it's it's,
take it
it's
to
more
the
like, oh, I
dentist,
could
it's
just
like-
push that button, and it's like, no, I got to put that game in. The cool thing is that the integration with the PlayStation Store is such that you can pretty much, at this point, download all the games that you can buy as a cartridge.
Oh, cool.
So that's how, unfortunately, they fill up your sticks pretty quick. I only have the 8 gig stick, and it fills up pretty fast because these games are like
Oh,
a
they
gig.
use the they use the Sony
the proprietary
SSX card or whatever it is.
Beautiful. Beautiful. 3D?
No.
No.
Yeah.
How's it feel in your hands while playing?
Sure. Feels just like
Sure.
the.
Just like a PSP, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I remember loving my PSP, but pre-iPhone, and that was the big thing. Do you think
Yeah.
that this is going to be? I mean, the graphics look like they may be better. It's definitely
it's
got
much
that, and
better.
it's definitely got that handheld vibe, which there is something to be said about playing with controller.
It's interesting that you're using the D-pad and not the stick.
I always. Well, it's
Oh, you
definitely
always-
much more, but it's way more comfortable.
Let's see what we got. Wow, that screen is
Gorge.
gorgeous. Wow, yeah, it's surprisingly, it's really got a great. I mean, that is gorgeous. That screen.
OLED screen, yeah.
So let's load something else up.
Push the PlayStation button. There you go, and then you can swipe.
Oh wow!
Swipe.
And it just sits there on where I am.
It's in a suspended mode, and then I think now you can just go to push start on that. And
And
it'll
can
tell
you-
you it'll close that.
Oh, it'll close that. Okay.
Yeah. So now the deal with this game is that it's kind of like you're a little marble guy, and you have to lift the ground in order to roll him places.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have seizures. Is that a problem?
No, just don't mind that.
Okay. Little Deviants is my favorite. I have to say, just even my first initial response has been way more positive than I had thought. I mean, I was sort of thinking this was like, oh, why would I get this?
Do you guys think one of the things we were talking about
that
on
way.
We Can Confirm was
What, that you would want to get it? Or that?
I don't. It's nothing against
compelling.
the system.
Yeah.
It's the zeitgeist, the culture. I don't have any reason to decide to pick that up.
I agree with that. Because I
Well-
have so much stuff on my
I mean,
phone, but-
we'll play Uncharted last, and then I mean
Yeah.
that's an experience that you don't get in a portable way. Any other?
Right, but if I'm traveling, I have such a. This is what I mean by the zeit. If I'm traveling, I have plenty to do plenty to do now. We're not in a time where you had, as a kid, especially growing up,
nothing to do.
You had to read a
playing.
comic or, you know. So this is more like a console experience. And if I'm going to choose to play this, it's so robust, I would probably be playing this at home. But if I'm at home, I might as well be playing it on my TV. It's just as much effort.
Interesting.
Do you disagree?
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I don't think it's just as much effort at all. I think I could like lie in bed and play this.
I will say
pretty
I'm
amazing.
not a huge fan of the
back touching.
back touching at all.
Now, do you feel like it's the implementation of this game, or do you feel like it's just the concept as a whole?
I don't feel like I need it. I feel like it's sort of like I don't get what the benefit is of the. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
found myself tilting a lot when I was playing this.
well, because you're not. You think you're affecting the world in a way that you're not actually affecting the world. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so you don't quite know what you're doing at any given time, really. Like, this is part, you know, half of the big design of this device is the back touch.
You're right, that is weird.
But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's half of the thing. It's not like, oh, well, oh yeah, and if you want, you can sort of do this back touch thing, but whatever. It's like, no. The thing that they are betting on is their stylus to the Nintendo DS is the back touch.
I'm not so sure that's the case. I mean, I feel like there's a little bit of a kitchen sink thing happening where it's like, you got front touch,
Might
you
as
got
well
back
do it.
touch,
Yeah.
you got buttons, you got sticks. Do what you want.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more of like we'll just throw so much at you that any given game, like Uncharted is so bizarre because there's almost 3 different ways to accomplish anything.
Yeah.
You can like tap to attack a guy, you can use the sticks to attack a guy, you can tilt. I mean, it's got gyro thing, so.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how I feel playing this. Like my dad holding any video game controller. Like I'm like,
So awesome.
is this, and like I'm seeing his guy going like, you know, like I'm like, how do I get my hand? Okay, there it is, and
Well, I mean, you've also been playing it for 4 seconds.
for sure, but my brain and my fingers aren't doing what my brain wants them to do. It's almost like this feels like if you're looking yourself in a mirror,
Yeah.
and you're like holding, you're like, oh, I thought my other hand was doing.
But that's almost the game of it. The game is built around that awkwardness, right?
Is it?
I feel like that's kind of what it is. It's like what's difficult is trying to manipulate the environment instead of the guy. And it's almost like Marble Madness where the momentum was fighting against you half the time.
Right, but I wish I felt like as a control over this as I did in Marble Madness, but. Wow. Okay, so I have to use the thumbstick. Interesting. Can't use this.
That's to change weapons. I don't understand why you would want to, just because it's more comfortable for you.
Way more comfortable. What?
Now, watch this. Check this out.
Oh yeah, they'll like swipe up?
Yeah.
But that's an
let me just show you how
optional
to do it.
thing, right?
Yep. That's just one way to do it. You just like draw a path for him. You don't have to be so slow about it either.
I think this is more comfortable though, once again. It's like I have to lean there and then go back and do that in the back. I might as well just be all here.
Swipe him. Then you gotta get the jump, dude. I think you can jump with the swiping, I'm not sure.
It is interesting.
You know, that sliding stuff was pretty good.
I like it.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's like, oh, that's all it is, really. But it's all it is, you're just pushing X and pushing up and over or whatever.
Yeah, but it's disguised a little bit, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because that's, I mean, when we first reviewed this game, that was my
You're
biggest
more
complaint
active,
was,
less passive.
yeah, it was, I feel like all I'm doing is just doing their little thing, you know what I mean? But my God. I mean, that is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Is between my iPhone and the soon-to-be iPad 3, which is going to be in a couple weeks. I mean, that to me is where I'd rather spend my money because those are the things I guaranteed will always be in my backpack when I'm going on a long trip.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas this is always going to be a, should I take it? Is it charged? Well, it's not charged because the last time I used it was on the other long trip that I took 2 years ago. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I think you know, I really love, not really, I mean, I really love the fact that it really is PlayStation quality experience in a handheld system.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful, and there are some awesome games on it already.
That actually is something to say, because a lot of times launch titles are always the sort of like low end.
I'm doing like a weird like QTE right now.
Yeah.
With the so there's some of that, and there's like you have to rub charcoal rubbings sometimes, and there's
Cool.
you know some of it's a little contrived, but for the most part, I really think it's interesting how they worked in the touchscreen stuff. The shooting is a little wonky. The sticks are not super accurate and responsive. But these huge game experiences, these really amazing game experiences on this gorgeous screen with controls that are very effective.
This would be a great, if you are a business traveler, if you are somebody that's on a plane frequently, I think this is a must-buy. There's a lot of good stuff in this. It's just one of those things where it's coming out at a time where I don't know the technological bubble, if it's a buy for me or a not. I think it's a not. But if I had one, I would probably use it more than I think.
You might say people don't care about production value as much as quality of experience, convenience, and the
Right,
like.
yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know, because the low end has gotten so much better looking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Back touch.
you guys aren't
Loca.
sold, but I
Not
obviously
sold.
was.
Yes.
So, remains to be seen.
All right, everybody, be sure to stick around. We've got more John Carter action with the Wayward Traveler Mikey coming right up. But first, sponsors, Jeff Cannata.
Stick around at the bottom of the sponsorship. I'm going to tell you about my Audible pick of the week.
Okay.
Great audiobook coming your way, but let me tell you what audible.com is. It's the leading provider of audiobooks. Books on tape. They used to be called because they used to use tape, and now, through the power of technology, we can deliver it to you onto your iPod or MP3 player, which is really super convenient. They have over 100,000 titles to choose from across all possible varieties of books. So anything you might want to enjoy story-wise or learn about, you can stick onto your iPod or MP3 player, and then you can listen to it on the go. It's a really, really convenient service, and we'll hook you up with a free audiobook to give it a shot. I highly recommend it. audiblepodcast.com/totallyrad will get you a free audiobook. Let me recommend one.
I was going to say,
now.
what might be a good one to choose?
Last time we did this, I recommended a classic science fiction tale. I would like to recommend a second classic. I know you guys will have my back on this. I was just having a conversation with my co-host of We Can Confirm, Garnett Lee, mentioned in passing, assuming he would have known it, read it, Ender's Game.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Garnett goes, what? I've never heard of that. Smoke shot out of my ears.
That's what happened with Alex 5 years ago.
Yeah, and then I read it and went, now I get the smoke.
The third time I read Ender's Game, it was audio.
Oh.
I listened to it on a car trip. This was several years ago, but it's great on
Read by
audio.
Abraham Lincoln. No.
Yeah.
Read by a dinosaur.
So check that out. If it's possible that you have gone through your life thus far and not read Ender's Game, join the awesomeness. It is, and it's going to be a movie, so you want to be ahead of that.
The movie, so
You want to be ahead of that train because it is one of the best science fiction books ever written.
Amazing.
And then do yourself a favor and don't read the sequels.
And thank you,
No.
Audible. Well, we can have that.
Ender Shadow.
Not a
Ender
sequel.
Schmatters.
Not a sequel.
Side conversation.
Side conversation.
Side
Don't
conversation.
read the sequels.
All right, enjoy the side conversation
Speaking
yourself.
for the dead, Xenocide.
Join us tomorrow for the results of our Oscar wager. You play a villain, which is pretty awesome. Is that something? Do you like playing a villain?
Well, generally, I mean, I don't get much choice. I think that people, casting directors just look at me and think, oh, he looks like a bad guy. But
why is that?
I don't know, some look in my eye, I think.
Actually, I see it. I see the.
Do you?
I see it, yeah.
The evil.
Yeah, there's a little evil.
The lurking
there.
evil, yeah. It's taken a while to cultivate. But I think generally, villains tend to have the best line. Well, they tend to have the jokes.
Andrew Stanton, coming from Pixar as just a creative force in animation, coming to live action, what did you see different from other directors that you've worked with?
Well, I suppose on a practical level, the first thing I saw was that, which was really important for this film, was that he had done an animated video of most of the scenes I was in, particularly the fight scenes and the action scenes. So before we did the scene, he'd go, look, this is how I want to shoot it, this is how the camera is. And so that was from the purely practical point of view, and that did really help. And even in the audition, which lasted an hour, and they usually last about a minute, which was purely him explaining the world and showing drawings and video of what his vision was. I suppose what I'm trying to say is that what he brought to it was a much more thorough, complete vision than I think you normally get with directors.
You do quite a bit of extensive physical work in the movie. The physical aspect of everything, what was that like for you?
The first stunt I saw, the stunt people were way up in the top of the studio. This was in London, and they dropped, and I was like, "That's incredible, incredible!" And I turn around, turning. They're like, "Lynn, time to get into your harness." And I look at Taylor, and he's getting in his, and eye contact. He's getting in, and he goes, "No regrets, Collins." So the whole rest of the movie was me being like, I have been, challenged on a huge level. So I did most of my stunts. Overcame a lot of fears, overcame a lot of insecurities, and just the work to sort of make my body strong in order to fight was an instant connector to mentally being strong and sort of not hiding that part of myself, but opening it and exposing it. And once you do that, you can't scurry back. It's sort of like it changed me forever.
You have to keep going with it.
Have to keep going.